Hello and welcome to World Today. I'm Geeta Mohan and we begin with Indo-Pak tensions that has left the world a worried lot. After Iran, China, the UN Secretary General, now America is seeking de-escalation of tensions. While US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to speak with his Indian and Pakistani counterparts, US Chargé d'Affaires in Islamabad, Nathalie Baik, met Pakistan Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar to de-escalate tensions with India following the Pahalgam terror attack. The US Chargé d'Affaires conveyed the US desire for de-escalation and that it will stay engaged with both countries on the evolving situation, Pakistan Foreign Office said in a statement. Meanwhile, India continues to send strong message to Pakistan. This time, New Delhi says art and terror cannot go together. India has blocked Instagram accounts of various Pakistani artists, actors. Hania Amir and Mahira Khan's Instagram have been blocked. Artists Ali Zafar, Sanan Saeed, singer Bilal also have been blocked. Instagram pages of actors Imran Abbas and Sajal Ali also have been withheld. India has warned Pakistan against ceasefire violations while DGMOs of both sides held talks over a hotline. Prime Minister Modi chaired high-level security meetings amid Pakistan's move at the UN Security Council, removing TRF, the resistance front, a proxy for Lashkar-e-Taiba, from the statement on Pahalgam introduced by the United States of America. This clearly exposes Pakistan's doublespeak on fight against terror.
The Pakistan Stock Exchange plunged by more than 3,500 points on Wednesday as uncertainty took hold due to increasing risk of a showdown with India. The uncertainty caused a midnight crisis cabinet meeting. Pakistan claimed that it has credible intelligence about India carrying out a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours.
Pakistan has credible intelligence that India intends carrying out military action against Pakistan in the next 24 to 36 hours on the pretext of baseless and concocted allegations of involvement in the Pahalgam incident.
On Tuesday, UNSC issued a press statement condemning in the strongest terms the terrorist attack in Pahalgam of Jammu and Kashmir. The 15-nation council stressed that those responsible should be held accountable and the organizers and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terror should be brought to justice. 26 people were brutally killed and UNSC expressed their deepest sympathy and condolences to the families of the victims and to the government of India and the government of Nepal, and wished a speedy and full recovery to those who were injured. The press statement is a declaration to the media made by the President of the Security Council on behalf of all 15 members. The US had floated the draft statement, which was then discussed by Council members. Pakistan currently sits in the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member, while India is not part of it for the time being. A press statement requires agreement from all council members and is a negotiated text. The statement did not have any mention of the perpetrator terror organization, TRF. Pakistan claimed that it pushed for the omission.
मैंने कहा यहाँ हमें एविडेंस दिखाएं कि ये दी रेजिस्टेंस फोरम ने दी टीआरएफ ने किया है तो फिर हम इसको रहने देंगे, या उनकी ओनरशिप दिखा दें कि इन्होंने एक मीडिया में चला भी दिया कि उन्होंने ओन कर लिया, वो झूठा था। उनके नहीं, ये नहीं है। तो उस पे करीबन हमारे जी 2.5 दिन लगे। वी रिफ्यूज टू बज इन। मुझे बड़े बड़े कैपिटल से कॉलें आई कि देखें इस वक्त मैं कहा जी नथिंग डूइंग, ये नहीं हो सकता। पाकिस्तान
Breaking news coming in. India has issued a NOTAM shutting down its airspace for Pakistan registered, operated or leased aircraft or airlines and military flights. The dates are between April 30th to May 23rd. That's the news that's coming in. Till May 23rd, all Pakistani aircraft which are operated, leased or registered in Pakistan will not be allowed into Indian airspace. This after Pakistan shut down its airspace for Indian commercial aircraft. Shivani Sharma joins us for more on this. Big news and move by India yet again, Shivani. After all the diplomatic moves, we are now looking at airspace being shut down for Pakistan.
Geeta, this was under consideration by the Indian government since last few days, and we had already reported that this can come as a decision, a major diplomatic decision from the Indian government. And now what we are learning through the sources is that the airspace has been shut down for any kind of aircraft, be it the civil aircraft or the other commercial flights. So all this is being done to create more pressure on Pakistan, because then Pakistan aircraft will have to take a very longer route when it will have to travel to the Southeast Asian countries. So this is a major move that has come, that the airspace has been already shut. And apart from the airspace, Geeta, the ports will also be banned for any kind of ships from Pakistan. So this is another major blow that Pakistan will have to bear after the 22nd April Pahalgam attack.
Well, the Pahalgam terror attack took place. Prime Minister Modi was cut short his visit from Saudi Arabia to India, returned, Shivani, and that's when we had seen the first moment, the first instance when India did not use Pakistani airspace. He'd used the airspace. The Air Force One had flown over Pakistani airspace when Prime Minister Modi was going to Saudi Arabia, but on his way back, he did not use Pakistani airspace. That certainly was an indication that this is where India would be headed towards, a NOTAM to ensure that Indian airspace will be shut to Pakistani aircraft.
You are right, Geeta. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi was returning, cutting short his visit to Saudi Arabia when the attack happened, he did not take his flight, in fact, did not take the airspace above Pakistan. And right after the CCS made certain decisions, the Pakistan government also decided that, and it declared that no Indian flight will be allowed to use the airspace above Pakistan. But it was also expecting a similar action from India, and that is why even before this formal announcement was made of closing this airspace for Pakistani flights, the Pakistani flights had already started avoiding the Indian airspace, and we had been tracking few of these flights on flight radar that showed that none of these flights from Pakistan, they were taking the Indian airspace. They had already avoided the Indian airspace because they are fearing a lot of action from India on all fronts. So this has now come, which was under consideration, that India has formally issued a NOTAM for any kind of flight of Pakistan will not be allowed on the Indian airspace.
Also, Shivani, you know, when tensions escalate between countries like India and Pakistan and you shut airspace, it does cost the airlines a lot more. Because of the detour. Now, going through India into Southeast Asia would be much cheaper for these aircraft carriers, but now they'll have to pay more for the fuel just to take a detour and go all through the region rather than go through India.
Absolutely, Geeta. This will be a big blow on the economy of Pakistan, because it will have to pay a lot more for the fuel when it will have to take the other route for not only for the flights, but also if the ships are banned on the Indian ports, they will also have to take a much longer route to those nations where they are now heading. So this is another diplomatic pressure, diplomatic attack on the Pakistani economy. Also, we all know the struggles of Pakistani economy in past few years, Geeta. So it's again a big blow, a big attack, which Pakistan will have to bear or pay for after the Pahalgam attack and for harboring the terror nexus on its soil, especially which is used against India.
Right. Shivani, stay on with me. Let's just, for the benefit of our viewers, tell our viewers exactly what has happened. Pakistan, not so long ago, had shut its airspace for India. And now India has issued a NOTAM shutting down its airspace for Pakistan registered, operated or leased aircraft, airlines and military flights. The dates on the NOTAM notice say it's from April 30th to May 23rd. Very critical over here, Shivani, the fact that there are a series of things that have happened, from visas being revoked, Pakistanis having to go back to Pakistan, diplomats having been served persona non grata notice and have been asked to leave, and the defense attaches have left the country. But now we're looking at a window of April 30th to 23rd May. 1st May is when all the integrated checkposts will also shut down. What are we to expect over here? Is there a security scenario that's being built? Because we've seen high-level meetings today chaired by none other than the Prime Minister himself. Home Minister chaired a few meetings on Indus waters. And now we're looking at a NOTAM shutting Pakistan in Indian airspace.
Geeta, India is taking on multi-dimensional strikes on Pakistan, not only on ground, but also diplomatically through different channels and decisions right after from the CCS had happened. The first CCS that had happened when Prime Minister Narendra Modi had returned back, cutting short the journey to Saudi Arabia. And this is, remember, a way of creating more and more pressure and panic in Pakistan, as we've been watching what Pakistan has been doing. The statements, the bizarre statements that are coming in, or the midnight press conferences that we have been witnessing, Geeta, about India can hit us hard, and calling out for help from global partners and the United Nations. So now this decision has come once again, where Pakistan's aircrafts will be banned on the Indian airspace, and the timeline suggests, Geeta, the strategic planning that goes on by the security forces in India, and the huddles that are happening each day with Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally monitoring what is going on to tackle this terror menace, not only on the Indian soil in Jammu and Kashmir, but also across the border from where they've been pushed in the Indian boundaries.
Well, it's been a high-stakes game when it comes to India-Pakistan, escalating tensions. There are moves and counter-moves, offensives and counter-offensives that we are witnessing. Shivani Sharma, thank you so much for joining us. Keep a tab on what's happening when it comes to India and Pakistan, because a lot of movement is what we see overnight when Pakistan, a very rattled Pakistan, holds press conferences, announces decisions and makes statements against India. But that's the breaking news that has come in just now. We'll keep tracking details and developments on that front. Just a day after Donald Trump celebrated 100th day in office in his second term, the US economy shrank at a 0.3% annual pace from January through March. This is the first drop in 3 years. It was slowed by a surge in imports as companies in the United States of America tried to bring in foreign goods before President Donald Trump imposed massive tariffs. And President Trump posted on his Truth Social handle that the blame for the economy shrinking lies with his predecessor, Joe Biden. He wrote, and I quote, "This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Tariffs will soon start kicking in, and companies are starting to move into the US in record numbers. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. This will take a while, has nothing to do with tariffs." Now, that's the statement made by President Trump himself. On Tuesday, he marked his 100th day back in the White House with a rally in Michigan, offering his take on both achievements and ongoing challenges. From immigration to tariffs, the president laid out what he calls 100 days of greatness. And a day later, when the economy contracted, he blamed Biden.
And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in.
Donald Trump marked his 100th day back in the White House with a campaign-style rally in Michigan. From immigration to tariffs, the US president laid out what he sees as his accomplishments and challenges. Supporters packed in a convention center as the president touted 100 days of greatness. One moment that drew particular attention was a cinematic video showing migrants deported to El Salvador. The video was accompanied by intense music and crowd applause. The images, first shared by El Salvador's president, were shown as part of Trump's push for stricter border enforcement. Trump also defended his use of the centuries-old Alien Enemies Act to expedite deportations. Meanwhile, he criticized the federal courts for blocking parts of his agenda. Trump's remarks touched on immigration, manufacturing, tariffs, and support for key allies like Elon Musk and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He also repeated claims about election results and media coverage, calling out what he described as fake polls. While the crowd was energetic, the arena was only about half full. And some attendees left before Trump finished his nearly 90-minute address. Supporters see the rally as a show of strength and resolve, but critics point to low approval ratings and ongoing legal challenges. Either way, President Trump's first 100 days signal a presidency defined by bold moves and familiar rhetoric. Bureau Report, India Today.
Jeff Bezos' Amazon hit the headlines for much of the day on Tuesday. The reason? Its low-cost haul unit considered listing import charges for goods in light of new U.S. tariffs. The retail giant was soon reprimanded by the White House as it called Amazon un-American. Amazon denied looking at any such plan of disclosing tariff impact on prices for its main website or in the haul. Finally, all ended well, and Jeff Bezos earned a good guy appraisal from the U.S. president himself.
Jeff Bezos' Amazon spent a chaotic Tuesday in damage control mode, because reportedly the retail giant had planned to detail the cost of trade tariffs to its customers on its low-cost platform haul. The move rattled the White House.
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
The Seattle retailer said it had looked into itemizing the impact for shoppers using Amazon Haul. The low-cost site was launched in the US last year to compete with Shein and Temu. But after it was reported by a news platform, Amazon said it had decided not to move forward and the idea had never been under consideration for its main platform. The US president called Jeff Bezos.
Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly. And he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
The confusion initially prompted a 2% drop in Amazon shares on Tuesday morning, but by the end of the day, with the president backing Bezos as a good guy, Amazon recovered. It certainly was a close call for Amazon getting into crosshair with the White House. Bureau Report, India Today.
U.S. President Donald Trump is undoubtedly the darling of the social media. He talks and moves, and that inspires memes. Here is the viral POTUS section.
On Tuesday, US President Donald Trump joked with reporters at the White House about wanting to become Pope.
I'd like to be Pope. That would be my #1 choice.
And this joke of Donald Trump made the internet go crazy. Soon after, social media erupted with AI-generated images of Donald Trump as Pope, and it's pretty much everywhere. President Donald Trump feted the 2025 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at the White House on Monday, and he particularly praised American football running back Saquon Barkley for his looks.
The season started off slow, but you soon caught fire with your great coach inspiring you, and you got the ball to your superstar running back who I met yesterday, and I want to tell you he's a handsome guy, but I wouldn't want to tackle him. Saquon Barkley, where's Saquon?
Barkley is, as it is, a darling of the social media. With the presidential praise to his credit, he and the POTUS are the viral topic on the internet now.
I ended all of the lawless so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion bullshit.
The United States President has touted the end of diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI bullshit. He was speaking to the crowd at his 100 Days of Greatness rally in Michigan on Tuesday. Netizens caught up on it fast and spread it like wildfire.
To buy more? Well, you don't need snow. You don't need skis. You don't need ski champions either, right? You have a lot of them. We just want to keep the relationship the way it is. We've had a great relationship. I think now maybe closer than ever, but we've had a great relationship with Norway. I think just keep it the way it is, kid. You can't do better.
During a media interaction, Donald Trump's hilarious comment on the kind of relation he wants with Norway is going viral. As soon as the POTUS made his comment, the room erupted in laughter. Ivanka Trump's recent video featuring her father Donald Trump and her son Theo is indeed cute. And the cuteness overdose has spread across the internet virally. In the video posted by Ivanka, captured inside the White House, little Theo is seen playing an original composition for his grandpa, the President of United States of America, and the two share a unique moment of their own.
The crowded world of artificial intelligence has got another player, but with a difference. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta platform has launched a standalone AI app with a social media component to compete with OpenAI's ChatGPT. The Meta AI app, built with the company's Llama 4 AI system, includes a Discover feed that lets users see how others are interacting with AI. It also has a voice mode for interacting with the AI. Users can link their Facebook and Instagram accounts to the Meta AI app, and that instantly personalizes its user experience with social media context. And Meta has released it for free as an open source product, unlike its rivals. At the launch, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg chatted with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and the two hope that the speed of AI development happens faster for greater benefit. Listen in.
I'm curious how you think, what's your current outlook on sort of what we should be looking for to understand the progress that this is making?
I think AI has the promise, but you now have to sort of really have it deliver the real change in productivity, and that requires software and also management change, right? Because in some sense, people have to work with it differently. People always quote what happened with electricity, right? It was there for 50 years before people figured out that, hey, we got to really change the factories to really use electricity differently, right? And that is the famous Ford case study. And so to me, we're in somewhere in between. I hope we don't take 50 years. But I do feel that by just thinking of this as the horseless carriage is also not going to be the way we're going to get to the other side. So it's not just tech. Tech has got to progress. You got to put that into systems that actually deliver the new work artifact and workflow.
Yeah, well, we're all investing as if it's not going to take 50 years, so I hope it doesn't take 50 years.
Well, breaking news coming in. We were reporting this earlier. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has spoken with Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. There were reports earlier that he was going to speak with both his Indian and Pakistani counterpart, that's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar. But instead, Marco Rubio dialed Shehbaz Sharif. Details of the conversation are not out yet, but we do know clearly from the statements from White House and State Department that Marco Rubio was going to call the Pakistani leadership as also the Indian leadership to talk about de-escalating tensions between the two countries. We are also given to understand that he's likely to speak with External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar in a while from now. And the message from America, from Washington, D.C. remains the same, that India and Pakistan will have to use or seek the diplomatic route to de-escalate tensions rather than escalate tensions. This comes at a time when America is in a tariff war with China. And at this point in time, at this juncture, it is very important that India remains focused on the tariff conversations, negotiations with the United States of America rather than focused on taking on Pakistan. So America working in its own interests, seeking de-escalation between India and Pakistan. We'll keep tracking that big story on the conversations. Conversation with Dr. Jaishankar also likely to happen soon. But on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of World Today. Goodbye and take care.